No, where we stopped. Yeah, so Mrutyunjay had one question, so let me answer to him, which is related to this. What is life? Life is perception. One single answer. How do you perceive? You perceive through six senses. Who is you? There is no one. Okay. Now, animals will perceive in one way. Birds will perceive in another way. Insects will perceive in another way. Even in that, every being will perceive in their own way, even though there is a common perception, but you perceive in a different way, meaning they perceive in a different way. The same way, humans have common perceptions and specific perceptions. Example, I'm an Australian is a specific perception. It removes human being as a perception. In its place comes Australian. Okay. If I'm an Indian, it is a specific perception. Irrespective of somebody is a human being, I'm an Indian. So I can say I'm an Indian first. I'm an Australian first. I'm a American first, like that. In that, I can have a Hindu as a perception. And now it depends on how strong is the perception. It will remove the other perception. That's what Buddha is saying. If you have one perception, it removes the other perception. So if you are a Hindu, you no longer can perceive as a Indian. So if somebody is a Buddhist, can never feel himself to be an Indian, to be a human, to be anything at all. Clear? Do you have any questions? Let's finish this before we take even more deeper aspect to this. Everything is perception. If you say I don't have a wife, is a perception. If you say I have a wife, is a perception. You say I don't have a son, is a perception. If you say I have a son, is a perception. Everything is a perception. So sanya vedita nirodha means neither having a perception nor having a feeling, and that is what is liberation. So as long as you have a perception, you keep on going here and there because you have a perception. So let's say I have a perception that I need to go to so and so person's home. You will pursue because there's a perception. And no perception is real, or no perception is unreal also. It has a reality, but it is subjective reality. But it's still a reality. Subjectivity based upon the six senses. So any questions, Mrutyunjay, before we go further, can you say whether you understood, or you understood to misunderstood, or misunderstood to understood, neither understood nor misunderstood? Which one is right?
So the role of perception again among individuals in human beings, again it differs
Yes, it
when
differs.
compared to the common perception of the humans.
Yes,
This point I got it.
yes. So if I am saying I'm going to Bodh Gaya, is completely fabricated perception. There's nothing like that. So if you are in Bodh Gaya, you no longer in any other perception because your senses are in Bodh Gaya. Like I go to Mahabodhi temple here in Bangalore. So when I enter Mahabodhi, there's a perception of entering into Mahabodhi, which is the wrong perception. It's a real worst perception you can ever get for Nibbana is to get this perception that you are entering something. If you enter something, you are out of Nibbana. That's what is the problem. So, in fact, Sakka asked this question to the Buddha. Buddha says, don't enter. Ye Dhamma nalam abhinivesaya. Nothing is worth entering into, but you enter. Okay? When you enter, you enter. So you start to feel this is Mahabodhi temple. It's just a feeling created by perception. There is nothing called as Mahabodhi temple, and the Buddha statue is just a figure created out of the mind of some person. There is no Buddha sitting there and watching any one of us, irrespective of whatever it is called as. Like in the Mahabodhi Vihara, we have some, you see, there's one big Buddha statue, there is another small one, there are two other people standing there. I don't know who they are, and different kind of scents and incense sticks and all of that. And the fun part of perception is when they go inside, they prostrate to an idol, which is even more stupid because just a perception. So you can create a perception as though it is real. So when we take real, then prostration is also good. That's not no longer idiot or stupid or whatever. It is good one because it is samuchi satya, conventional reality. Why? Because you should have some perception, otherwise you can't interact. So there's a perception. But that perception has got nothing to do with really a Buddha sitting out there. It's just a building. Somebody gets mad and he throws a bomb on top of that building. What happens? And that's exactly the question what Mahamoggallana asked Sakka when he shows him Vajanti Palace. He says, Sakka, are you sure this building is going to stay? And Sakka says, yes. So out of his psychic power, he shakes Vajanti Palace. And then Sakka comes to senses. And Moggallana asks the question to Sakka, what did our teacher teach? Can you tell me? And Sakka this time says, Mahamoggallana, our teacher taught us, Ye Dhamma nalam abhinivesaya. Abhinivesa is like putting a garb on something. So perception is that garb which covers the reality. So if I'm following Chuladasa, it's a garb. It's a laundry item. There is nothing called as mind illuminated or mind not illuminated, mind partially illuminated, mind fully illuminated, because it's just a perception. There's nothing like that in real sense. In convention, Yes, there is. So there are 10 steps. Yes, there is. But if you think that is real, you're far away from Nibbana, too far away, because perception is the problem. So each animal, each bird, each insect, Deva, Brahma, all of that, including an Anāgami, perceives differently. And hence they cannot come out of avijja. I was telling Shane yesterday, it's difficult for an Anāgami to reach Arhat because the perception will not allow him to do so. Okay, it's not possible. So, Anāgami is a good state of existence, fair deal, but it is too far away to get into Arhat Pala Samapatti. It's very far. It's not that we should not practice it. Yes, we should. It's not that we didn't achieve Nirodha Samapatti, have, but it's still not there because there is still perception to be removed. So we have removed one perception and filled with it another perception. Or what perception did we remove? At Sotapanna, the perception that is removed is of a villager's life, Gamma Dhamma. Right? Just like a villager, he just comes, he just does whatever he does, and he doesn't know there is a rebirth process. There's nothing he knows. He might be earning good amount of money and have a lot of power and prestige and car and whatever it is. Still a putu jana because he's just playing with toys, which don't stay for a long time to come. So, out of compassion, Buddha teaches this child like human being to let go of that perception. So the Sakkaya Ditti, which is another perception, can be dropped. And he can now see through his own perception, not because Buddha said so, not because the teacher said so, not because the tradition said so, not because the scripture said so. Nothing like that. There's a change in perception. When there's change in the perception, there's a change in the feeling. So if I were to ask Shaniel, are you a Sotapanna? I don't believe so. What he should reply? Okay, don't believe. What's my problem? I'm not here to tell you whether I'm a Sotapanna or not. I'm here to know for myself, have I cut off the three fetters or not? And that's what I'm interested in. I'm not here to convince you that I'm a Sotapanna or not. Doesn't matter. You don't believe, don't believe. Oh, I believe that you're a Sotapanna. Okay, fair. That doesn't make anything. If he can balance it out like that, fair, because it's perception changing. Now, this person who is asking this question that whether you are a Sotapanna has a different perception. Now, what you can do about it? He holds a strong view that so and so person is not a Sotapanna, which is a perception. Now, what can anybody do? He can't go pleading, saying that, hey, you know what, I'm a Sotapanna, please accept me as a Sotapanna. Need not be. Because at the time of death, he's a Sotapanna. He will go where it should go. So the consciousness having the perception will now go and land in a place meant for a Sotapanna. Simple. Why should Shaniel or for anyone for that matter go and take the trouble of saying I'm a Sotapanna. You can say, yeah, I did this, I got Sotapanna. Somebody can believe it, somebody can disbelieve it, somebody can believe to disbelieve it, somebody can disbelieve to believe it. Four combinations. It's a perception again. Okay? Am I a Sotapanna? If this question is asked, should I answer? Yes, to the best of my ability, I can answer. But can I change a perception of a person who doesn't want to believe or accept or trust that I'm a Sotapanna? Nothing I can do. Should I do something to change his perception? Better not. Why don't you use that energy for your own liberation rather than convincing someone that I am a Sotapanna? In fact, I and uh, Anusha, and there's Anusha's friend by name Karu in Sri Lanka. So we had a lot of discussions. At the end of the discussion, it ended with saying that neither I am a Sotapanna nor Anusha is a Sotapanna. Done. That's all. Because in the eyes of Karu, his perception is I'm not a Sotapanna, neither Anusha is a Sotapanna. But Anusha feels she's a Sotapanna. She wants certificate of authority from Karu that she has indeed seen what Buddha says. And Karu feels whatever you have understood is only theoretical. That's not the way it is. Okay, what's the way it is? And nobody knows. If I were to talk to Bobby about Sotapanna, he'll say, yes, Vilasji. But is he convinced? Meaning conviction, not just convincing. Conviction. There's a strong conviction. I am a Sotapanna. Why that doesn't happen? Because there is no change of perception. As simple as that. So here is where we can find an intellectual insight versus change of perception. Intellectual insight means I read something and I feel that I'm this, but knowing very well I'm not. Meaning there's a doubt. I'm not, I'm not, I'm not. So I'm just going in circles. And I require somebody to authorize, approve, say, and grant that. Because I'm not able to make up through my own insight the change of perception from Putujana to a Sotapanna. So I don't know. Right? Now, somehow, someday, I sit in meditation, like what Buddha is informing. There's a way of learning. You learn and you close your eyes, watch the breath, and then leave all concepts at once. Whether it's called Sotapanna or Sakadagami or Anāgami or Arahat, and just watch the breath. And you would see something strange. The breath becomes totally unrecognizable. Whatever was perceived as breath no longer stands as breath. It stands as vibration, than being of breath. And then what I see? I start seeing arising and passing of everything, and it shocks me. Wait a second. There is a witness and there is a substance and there is an object due to that substance. Now I see whatever arises passes away. Do you have a doubt? No. And what did Buddha say? Same thing. Isn't that the dukkha? Whatever arises passes away is certainly the dukkha. Yes, I could see. It's not only that, I can't even predict the next outcome. Isn't it uncertain? Yes, it is. Have you seen it for yourself? Yes, I'm seeing it as a witness consciousness, not as a sixth sense consciousness. It's a witness. I'm seeing the consciousness of whatever name and form it was given, arising and passing away. Just like the breath coming and going and did not find the breath at all in the end. And that very moment, my perception completely changed. From Nitya Sanya, it turns itself into Anitya Sanya. What happens then? The dukkha is penetrated. And what happens then? Anatta is saved. So did I experience the Lakhana? Yes. Did I experience Yam Kinchi Samudaya Dhammam? Sabbam Tam Nirodha Dhammam. Whatever that arises with a cause, when the cause is removed, they all perish. Didn't I see it through my own eyes? Yes. Can I now say Chakku Mudapadi? Yes. Jnanam Mudapadi? Yes. Panya Udapadi? Yes. Aloko Udapadi? Am I not getting in light of Dhamma? Yes. So can I proclaim to the world of the Maras? That means they are going to come and kill. You can kill, do whatever you want. You can't take away Sotapanna from me. Can I? Yes, I can. Why? The Dhamma has been penetrated. Can I really see that I will not have a lower realm of existence? Absolutely. Beyond doubt. It's crystal clear. Should I go and ask a Bhante about it? Your choice. Should he give me a certificate of merit? He can come and throw it in the dustbin. Or if you find a trash bin there, just tear that paper up. Let it not even come outside that monastery. Or if he gives it to your hand, tear it into 4 pieces and give it to him only. It makes no sense. This one is beyond anybody's certification. I don't require. Nor does anyone who has become a Sotapanna requires. And hence Buddha says, he can declare in all the suttas of 25.1, starting with Rupa, ending with 5 khandas, the same line is repeated. In Sanyukta Nikaya, so if somebody has a doubt, just go there and practice the way it is said there. But that's what is a perception change. So now there's a change in perception. And that's it. There's nothing more to argue. So if somebody comes and says, how does a Sotapanna perceive? What he should reply? He perceives now everything as 5 khandas. Because there's a change in perception. Now if somebody comes and asks, can you tell me how to see 5 khandas? It's difficult to explain. He can only say this is Rupa, this is Vedana, this is Sanya, this is Sankhara, this is Vijnana. This I am also reading. But hey, my dear friend, your perception has not changed. Learn to change the perception. It's not possible. There are underlying conditions which you have to change, my dear friend. You have to remove the 10 immoral deeds without which this perception change cannot happen, because that place is taken over by 10 immoral deeds. Are you able to see whether you are ill-treating anyone in your house? Are you able to see, you are, meaning you are having a violent conduct with yourself or with others? Are you able to see you are telling lies or slandering or this or that? As long as you have that, so long you can't perform. But that's a rule. Nothing, anything about it. That perception has taken over that being violent is okay, being non truthful is okay, being slander is okay. But that's a perception, simple as that. So, as long as that perception cannot change, this cannot happen. No, I'm reading a lot. You read whatever you want. If reading can change perception, by now everybody would have become an Arahat. But I'm reading the book Mind Illuminated. Yep, fine. But until the time your perception is changed, nothing is going to work. So, if we cannot change perceptions, it will not work. So, how do I know I'm a Sotapanna? It's very simple, based upon perception. That's it. Now comes the point. When the person being a Sotapanna starts to work diligently, patiently, persistently, consistently, whatever the English terms we can put there, continuously he is on that. It breaks furthermore fetters. So his interest over sensuality drops a lot, because that's a perception. It drops. So by learning, by changing perception of one way, you're having a perception of another way. That's the reason I took this sutta, Puttapada Sutta. Very important sutta to understand and to make sure you're an Anāgami or a Sakadagami or a Sotapanna or nothing at all. You can know it for yourself. So, his perception of sight, sound, taste, touch, smell is far changed. He no longer get excited with things, and hence the vyapada, from a simple irritation to a complicated anger, is not there. So one should ask oneself, is he getting fit of anger, rage with his wife or husband or son or daughter or this, or on the road, road rage or this rage and that rage, being an employer, being an employee, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Do we have irritation? If it is just an irritation, normal irritation, not leading to anger, not leading to aggression, not leading to violence, not leading to anything, he is a Sakadagami. Why? He can't get it. No matter whatever is a provocation. And he's seen it for himself that his perception has indeed changed. Right? That's a thing. So when I saw Shaniel, his eyes on 4th of April, I knew this guy has come till here. I had no doubt. Nobody told me that he is a Sakadagami. Neither he told me that. But I was able to read in his eyes. And that's it. Should I give him a certificate saying that he is a Sakadagami? I don't have to. Doesn't matter. I'm very happy that he had only one more bhava left. That's it. Very nice. From 7, he has come to 1. Shouldn't I celebrate about a being who is come so close? Very nice. It's not because he's having a lot of money or a lot of big property or whatever it is. It has got nothing to do with it. But that's another perception. So just looking at the relief what he's getting, would see when he came to Bobby's home on 4th of April, I just saw him in his eyes. I felt, oh, good guy, done something. I felt like I could help him to the extent I know. It's fair. Okay. Because I could see his change of perception, his way of sitting and the way he was making things. And when I compared that with others, he was looking starkly different. Until the last day or just few days before, he never said he has a 10-acre land and his house is big for accommodating every given person. In fact, we told him, if you had told us earlier, we would have come to your house from day 3, 4, whatever day it was. But he didn't. So that is thing is why I'm bringing this up is that even though he has abundance, he never showcased it. And that's the perfect skill, perceived skill of a Sakadagami, disinterested in showcasing anything. If somebody was there, he would have volunteered saying that I have a big house. So why don't you guys come there? Got the point? It's not that he's pretending to be so. No. So then my thinking was, what is that I can do to him to get into Anāgami stage? Because he's moving from Sakadagami to Anāgami, which he also knows. It's not that I have to certify him. Even he knew it. So it's nothing great about anything. It's nothing great that is an Anāgami, to be honest. There's nothing great to be felt. He's only escaped from getting birth in a womb existence. Just like a Sotapanna escapes from getting a animal or some other existence, he has cut off the entry into the womb, which is good. Was nothing great. It's just cleansing of stuff and going back to where you belong to. Like just like going home. Nothing more than that. Shouldn't we celebrate this? Yes, we should. That somebody is getting relieved from the womb entry. It's good. Because no longer he has a perception of womb entry. He's released to that extent. Because the sight, sound, taste, touch, smell no longer bite him for sensual enjoyment. And hence there is no vyapad. Absolutely fair. Okay, this is how you change perceptions. It's just change of perception. So I took this route to explain to you that next one we are going to go through that jhanas and all that, irrespective of it, even this much is fair. Now, to get into the state of Anāgami, you can't do it without getting into jhanas. It's just not possible. If somebody is dreaming to be an Anāgami without jhana, it's like somebody imagining to be an Arhat without removing the 5 higher fetters. And only an Anāgami, and the only an Anāgami, and only an Anāgami can be in 8 jhanas at will and get into Nirodha. Nobody else. Nobody has a chance. Okay. Why is that? Because there's change of perception. The samadhi is concluded. So in Sotapanna, the sila got concluded. In Anāgami, samadhi has got concluded. The only another thing left for him is panya, wisdom. So sort of sila, samadhi, panya. Sila is done at Sotapanna. Samadhi is done at Anāgami. And at Arahat, it's only panya, wisdom. And journey ends. So, can be anyone. I don't want to just keep on talking about Shenial. Can be anyone who has removed the 5 lower fetters, means in his perception, there is no longer these defilements lurking. Which one? Sakkaya Ditti. That is Ditti Asava and Kama Asava. Not there. Not to be found. No matter the provocation. He is extinguished to that extent. What is extinguished? The perception is extinguished in the consciousness to that extent. So he can't be doing anything strange. And is any person who is an Anāgami cannot do. Now, in the case of Sheniya, especially, in the case of mine versus Shenial, in the case of Shenial, I was telling him yesterday, he doesn't have mana for Buddha Dhamma because he has not read so much of scriptures, nor Pali or whatever. In my case, that's a maximum. So for me to drop Buddha Dhamma is tremendously difficult. It's not impossible. It's difficult. Because I have to change that perception also. I have to remove that totally. Giving up the Dhamma. That means giving up the Pali, giving up knowledge of the suttas, giving up everything. And then the mana goes away. Because that's also a perception. And if that happens, the journey ends. Okay, so ultimately it is change of perceptions. Now coming back to the sutta, Buddha talks about the second jhana, where he talks about the vitakka vichar. We started with breath. So if you're following Chuladasa, you're following breath. Earlier, your perception never had breath. Now, this perception has breath. And when you are on breath, you start feeling quite a bit energetic. There's a lot of energy movement. That makes you glad. Now, there are many kinds of gladness. Buddha talks about some of it, Chuladasa talks many of it, whatever it is. There's different grades of gladness. The highest of the gladness is the Kundalini awakening, where the energy moves from the spine, the tip of the spine, to the top of the head with great force, distributing itself in every channel, just like some water gushing out from a hose pipe, a huge hose pipe, and you feel suffused in that joy. First, you get pasadhi, which is gladness, followed by piti, rapture. It's so intense, it's never stopping. And when you get that, you know you've got it. Somebody agrees or disagrees, makes no sense to you. Now, in the suttas, there nowhere mention of Kundalini. So be it. But there is a mention of it. Where? In the Niramisa Sutta, it's there. How the joy would be. A sensible person who has experienced it will understand. A non sensible person reading that sutta 200 times will never understand. Because he's searching for the word Kundalini in that. And he will say, Vilas, show me Kundalini in this. I'll say, there's no Kundalini, my dear friend. Absolutely true. You call by whatever name is just a perception. You're naming it just to understand it. So you can call whatever name you want. But what happens is, like in the case of Goenka, he says free flow. What is this free flow? Same thing. It's just a word to be used to describe something. But is it exactly like that? Answer is no. If a person is from Hindi, he uses the word dhara pravaha. Dhara means flowing. Pravaha means like a flood of something flowing. Call it energy, call it chi, call it prana, call it qigong, call it by whatever, however methods, whoever took it. This is something you can only experience, but you cannot put in words and sentences to exactly say this is the meaning of what I'm saying. You can come near to explaining it. You can only say the grades of pity, the grades of happiness, like that. But what is a grade? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Why? Because there's nothing like that. Just for understanding, we can put it. So, what should I do then? Well, you require three things. to practice. First thing, Sutamaya, meaning you have to hear, or you have to read, or you have to understand, comprehend through language, because that's what we've been taught. All our expressions are in a language form. So you require a language. Can be any language, doesn't matter. From the language, you have to decipher and start thinking. It's called Chintamaya. Don't allow the mind to go anywhere. Just keep on reflecting upon that and that and that. As much as that happens, so much of the wisdom starts to grow and then becomes bhavana. Bhavana also can mean meditation, bhavana can also mean experience. It's a meditative experience, so to say. That means you put it on to practice. What is a practice? Just experiment. There's nothing called as a practice. It's just a language to say, I'm practicing. What are you actually doing? You're putting it to an experiment to see, this is what this guy says. This is how I have thought about it. Now, taking from there and putting it here, let me experiment it. So we can say it like a sandbox. Just make a sandbox and say, oh, I will put it here. Let me see what happens. If it works, that means whatever I have learned through the language and whatever I have done through my syntaxes as in symbolizations, from the verbalization, I have symbolized it and I have now taken the material required and I'm experimenting it. And once I experiment it, the result, when the result comes, it comes in two ways. One, experiment succeeded, which changes the perception. Excellent. In the chitta, that is mind, which was holding one kind of perception. 1 second. Give me a second. Sorry. Okay. So basically, now I can change the perception and I can see it working. So when I look at the bhavana, in the chitta, the perception is changed. That is the mind. The perception is changed. And you know it is changed. Because that's what it is. So Buddha is saying you can do one perception and you change into another. So there's nothing like it is ahetuka, no cause, or other combinations which were there. He says that's not how it is. You can change perception. And it's for real. It changes. And you can't get it back. Like once a Sotapanna, you can't go back. There's nothing like coming back. In the same way, once an Anāgami, you can't come back. It's permanent. It's completely changed. Those defilements are gone. So that's how it works. So the basic idea of Buddha Dhamma is to just change perceptions. We are holding a wrong perception. So you're changing it to a right perception, which is called as right view. And by having right views, you ultimately come to a conclusion that it is the perception which is the problem. And hence, get into a stage of giving up the perceptions, which then cuts the feelings. And that very moment, the person is in Nirodha Samapatti. You understand that? So, this is how this works. So, I'll end it here. We'll take it tomorrow. But it was good that Mrityunjay asked this question. So, I wanted to give a clarity that it is the perception which is the main thing. And that's what this sutta is all about perceptions. And if you say, I exist, it's a perception. If you say, I don't exist, it's also a perception. So in the Kachayana Gutta Sutta, Buddha says very nicely, you know, Kachayana, people are in two extremes. They fight for one extreme, which is Atti, another extreme, Natti. It's just a perception. And in Kalaha Vivada Sutta, it talks about Sanni only. Sanni means perception. So somebody believes that he can just imagine and change the perception. Not possible. Because that itself is a perception. Okay. So if you think you can change perception just by reading, it's not possible. If somebody is of a feeling that I'll just change it by practicing, not possible. That means I close my eyes and sit in meditation for 10, 12 hours in a day. Will it change my perception? No, not at all. Because the perceptions are coming through eyes and ears and nose and tongue and the body and the mind. So just going to a retreat for a few days to 30 days to 60 days to maybe 100 days and 200 days and 500 days and as many days as you think is not going to do anything except for picking the experiences because it's perception as its core. Does that mean we shouldn't practice at all? No, you should. But you require the other two things. You require sutamaya, knowing how it should be done. Then you require chintamaya. This is the crucial thing. Chintamaya means to think. Think means to discern. Discern means to reflect. Reflect means observe. Observe means aware. Aware means, well, it is yoniso manasikara, if I were to use the proper word. What should be done and what should not be done. That's a crucial. Now, having known what should be done, are you able to do what should be done? You'll get the result. That is bhavanamaya. So when I say indriya bhavana, it means I know how to work with indriya because I've understood what is indriya in the Suttamaya. I have given a thought and a thought and a thought and a thought on what it is going to do, which is chintamaya. And I've implemented the practice to see how far it works. Is bhavanamaya. So what I do to see whether I have guarded my sense door, I'll go to places which irritates the sense door. Let's say I go to a park, I go to a beach, I go to a charnel ground, let's say, and I go to a mall, I go to a restaurant, I go everywhere just to see how far the indriyas are guarded. Then I note down, come back, experiment, redo the experiment. It has failed. No, Vilas, I will sit in Shunyagara. Yes, you have to sit in Shunyagara in a mall. Your mind should be Shunya of all of them. No, I have a small room. I darken it and sit. Sit. Nothing is going to happen because the perception lie low. When you come out, all the defilements come back. They come back. I don't want to see my wife again. Nothing is going to work for you. You have to see your wife. Shouldn't get upset. You're shouting at your wife. If you're doing it, stop today. If you're shouting at your husband, stop today. If you're shouting at your children, stop today. You should be thankful that they are irritating you to get things out of you. You better make them as your teacher if you want to grow. Because it's a perception which you have to come out of it, not the person. There's no person there. It's just a perception. And that's how I need to work. Anyway, we are 2 minutes past, but I can go further, but I don't know whether everybody can. Shaniel, do you still have time? No.
I have to go. We lost you, sorry.
Yeah, sure. So we'll drop it and we'll end for today. And